I identify as trans and I identify as nosy. Hey y'all, welcome to Cloveroom and welcome to another video of Cloveness. It's that special time at the end of the year when new releases slow down, when shipping windows close, and we tuck into a nice, long, relaxing, hopefully ruthless declutter. Yes, it is makeup declutter season here on YouTube. I guess everywhere, but mainly YouTube, I feel like. And I really wanted to post this video where I plan to explain why I am not doing one of those end of the year declutters this year and how my relationship with decluttering has changed throughout the past year. Now, of course, some caveats before we get into anything. I'm talking about my relationship with decluttering, not yours, not the person over there, not a specific creator. I'm talking about my relationship with decluttering. If you have a different relationship with decluttering, which you almost certainly do, since as far as I know, you are not me, that is fine. That's amazing. I just wanted to make clear how I am feeling about the topic, and I think it's a worthwhile discussion to have because there are so many declutter videos going up right now. I just think it's like an interesting, very meta beauty YouTube topic, which is kind of my favorite thing to talk about. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Cam. I'm a trans non-binary creator. I really love to talk about beauty, but from a conscious consumerism perspective. I also sometimes love to talk about pop culture, about the internet, and I like to do it from a very trans perspective. So if any of that sounds good to you, I would love to have you subscribed. I have a lot of videos coming for Clovemas, which is my version of Vlogmas, and if you do end up enjoying this video, I would love it if you would give it a like. For context, and just kind of to make sure everyone knows what I'm talking about, since I know sometimes maybe I have friends or just people who aren't as well versed, I suppose, in beauty YouTube, I'm discussing the kind of trope, I suppose, although that word feels a little too negative. The trend, maybe is a better word. The trend of beauty creators at the end of the year or beginning of next year or at some significant time interval. Beauty creators will often post these very long, very thorough, very relaxing, docile, clicky, clacky sound, ruthless, perhaps, declutters of their makeup collections. This type of video is really the sweet spot of beauty content creation because you have your really loyal beauty enthusiasts who perhaps already watch a lot of your beauty content, who are super interested to see what you keep, what you might give away, what is going to make it to next year, what will not, and are just, kind of nosy, like me. I identify as trans and I identify as nosy. Also, declutters, especially the type I was talking about, the lengthy cinematic ones, really appeal to non-beauty viewers. A lot of people who have never worn makeup in their life or don't care about makeup or, couldn't care less about a new eyeshadow palette at Sephora, they will fall asleep every night or a lot of nights to beauty declutters. They will do chores or do the bike at the gym to declutters. It's sort of like white noise with just a hint of intrigue, I feel like, to the non-beauty enthusiast. And, the clicky clacks and the talking about things that aren't super heavily perhaps politicized or things that aren't controversial. It's just nice. I'm going to put this video on to do something. So it's really just like a heavy hitter in terms of content. I think, I guess I'm opining a little. It's really a heavy hitter because there's like a giant Venn diagram of like who this appeals to, and the view count can have the potential to be quite high. It really is, you could call it an opportunity, but just a great way to grow your audience and have a very high performing video. I know that very well because by far the most popular video on this channel is the ruthless, relaxing, slightly cinematic, clickety-clackety declutter that I posted last year. It compared to my other videos, it did astronomically better, and it's because it's the type of video that does really, really well, especially if it's well done, which I think, not to pat myself on the back, but it's pretty good. It's entertaining. Like, I feel like I did a good job with it. It's also because it's really in that sweet spot of appealing to people, I'm usually aiming to have watch my channel, but also cross-appealing to other folks who would probably not check out my channel. So why am I not doing one this year? Why am I not doing a big end of the year declutter on camera and posting it? Or even, actually, I'm not even doing an end of year declutter at all. I'll put it in a sentence before I say a lot of sentences about it throughout this video, but to sum it up, as good of a deal as that type of declutter is for me as a beauty content creator, I have come to realize that it is not a good deal for me as a beauty enthusiast who wants to go about consuming makeup in a more conscious way. To illustrate this, I actually want to go back again a year ago to when, like I mentioned, I decluttered my makeup when I posted a very long, thorough beauty declutter. And I was watching that video actually today to kind of get reminded of my headspace and of all that I had, and just because I hadn't watched that video probably since I edited it. I got rid of like 40 to 50% of my makeup collection is the estimation I gave in that video, and I believe myself. I'm trustworthy. And I got rid of that 40 to 50% in hopes that when I did that, my collection would stay at the size that it was and not grow and shrink and grow and shrink exponentially again. Did that happen? No. No, it did not. A lot, and you may have noticed this, a lot of the makeup I use regularly now has been purchased since that declutter took place. In the last year, it has been purchased. And I still have some items that I purchased before that declutter that I get regular use out of and that I really enjoy, but a lot of what I have now is new products that have been purchased since I did that large declutter. That, my friends, was not the goal of that declutter. So the way I see it, I have two options. I can once again declutter my way to the collection size I want. I can, and maybe even just decide in the future, once a year I'm going to cull my makeup collection, and that is how I'm going to control the size of it. Or I can consume makeup in a little bit more of a thoughtful way and level my collection with using what I have, using up what I have, and then buying things in a responsible manner. Perhaps utilizing a low or no buy structure. As you might have noticed by my tone, I would like to do the latter. And to fully set the picture and talk about something I don't know if I've talked about yet in this iteration of my channel, I actually did a big-ish, I don't know if it was as big as I did last year, but I did a pretty significant, let's say, declutter before I moved to where I live now. So in August, I moved to this apartment, and I kind of had a bit of a freak out about how large my makeup collection had gotten again, how much stuff I wasn't using, and I did a declutter. It wasn't on camera, obviously. I didn't record it at all. There was no hope of it being on camera. I didn't want it to be. Because to be quite frank, that declutter was done in shame. I couldn't believe how much more makeup I had. And I also just couldn't believe how much I hadn't used in a really long time. And I also was like, like, why do I have all this makeup? Like, I don't need a big collection. I didn't necessarily know if I was going to come back to YouTube necessarily. So I didn't know if I wanted to keep really doing the content creator thing. I just kind of decluttered out of a little anxiety, a little judgment toward myself. It also had to do with other things besides beauty. I was like, moving is hard. Having to put together everything you own, even though it was a local move, was still like a lot. And I was like, I just have so much, like, I've got to get rid of some of this before I move, which I don't think was necessarily a poor decision. Were there items I decluttered in that I miss? Actually, yeah. But you know, it is what it is. I gave away what I could to friends here. This next part I want to reiterate is me trying to analyze my relationship with decluttering and something I have realized about myself, and it is not casting judgment on anyone. I've come to the conclusion that I was using decluttering as a get out of jail free card. I would consume a lot, get rid of the bloat, feel really good about it, be like, yeah, I'm a minimalist now. I'm gonna be more responsible with my purchases, but then purchase a lot again, remove the bloat again, feel really good about myself. And it was this cycle that I don't think was super helpful, and most importantly didn't really lead to change behavior. Not to say I buy makeup the same way I did even like a year ago. I do think I'm getting more thoughtful and better at buying makeup for myself. I'm not quite perhaps where I wanted to be. And I think I was placing so much significance on the decluttering aspect and making sure I was, this sounds perhaps silly, but good at decluttering and was making like like having the best possible end result with my collection when I decluttered, which isn't a bad goal when you're going into a declutter. I think I was really overusing the declutter as a mechanism to hopefully push me toward more conscious consumerist behaviors. Better buys, less buys, more using stuff up. The follow through really wasn't there. I think I was overusing that declutter mechanism. And I just don't think I'm truly happy with how mindful I've been with purchasing beauty products this past year. I don't want to declutter my way out of it. I want to try other things to help fix perhaps the issues or strengthen that muscle, I suppose. A channel I've been watching on YouTube a lot lately is Lara Likes Mascara. She is also kind of in the conscious beauty space. She does a lot of like Project Pan content, a lot of like empties, a lot of talking about using her collection, but also really like being specific with goals she has for products. I mention her and her content because I feel like it's helped me realize that I want to be better about fulfilling my commitment to products when I buy them. And that may sound intense or a little bit overkill, but just watching her content, like she will use things up. Like she's using dried up mascaras as brow gels. And I don't know if I'll ever go that far because obviously I don't really like to emphasize my brows too much these days. She will use products up that she doesn't necessarily love. If something isn't perfect, she doesn't say, oh, it's not perfect, I need to buy a better version of it. She just uses the thing she has and then maybe in the future acts on the knowledge she has of how she enjoyed using that thing to inform a better purchase. Potentially. Really eye-opening to watch her content and realize how much I'm not necessarily doing those things or not thinking that way when I look at my products. I think there's a lot of emphasis in beauty content that you need the best of the best, that products keep getting better, and if something isn't the best, then you need to buy the new thing that is better, like almost like an iPhone mentality of, foundation got like a couple of software updates that really make vlogging a little bit better, so we should all be buying new iPhones or we should all be buying new foundations, when realistically you probably don't need to do that because your foundation or your iPhone either is working just fine and serves you quite well, and why not fulfill the commitment you've already made to that item in the sunk cost of the purchase. But also, I mean, if we're talking broader scale and how much waste the makeup industry produces in finishing the product I paid for and making sure the packaging that was needed to hold that product was worthwhile in producing, right? I mean, that's a little existential, I suppose. I think it's important, and I think it's important to think about. And I don't think that necessarily means we have to shame ourselves if we're not able to finish things or if there is some level of waste. I do think it's a really good goal to think about, and it's something I'm now thinking about with my collection. This is somewhat personal to me, but I think could also be true for a lot of other people. There's so many products that I did not like when I first got them, and then once I finally really got into using it, I realized that I did really like it. I just had to use it in XYZ way, or I had to appreciate a finish, or whatnot. I have enjoyed products the most in the last couple months of me using them, actually. A lot of Kosas products specifically, because I finally think they look good, or I think I've figured out the trick to make them work for my routine. I think so much, this isn't necessarily what this video is about, but it sort of is. So much of the time, if something isn't a home run hit out of the gate when we first purchase it, we automatically are like, this product doesn't work with me because of this, instead of working with the product to make it work for us. And maybe that means mixing it with something. There's a couple of products in my collection, like complexion products, I really only love when I mix it with something else. But if I have those two items, I can mix it and it works quite well. But if I had just used that sole item, maybe returned it so it could be dumped in a landfill, or just let it languish in my collection and maybe eventually declutter or trash it, I wouldn't have given it that shot. I would have just written it off because it didn't work in the week or two I was testing it. So I think also not decluttering things allows me to have those breakthroughs with the products, again, I've paid for. And again, just a personal thing, and also why I don't really want to do makeup reviews, because like I would have to spend like a year reviewing a product, I think, to give it a fair shake, because so often I think I know how I feel about something, and then like a year or two later I'm like, oh wait, no, I like it actually, sorry. I also think it's worthwhile to mention this point and perspective about declutters. This cycle that we witness of creators doing these really large declutters every year is because those creators are likely receiving in PR or purchasing with business funds, right? Like channel budgets, a lot of makeup. So it's not makeup they just walked into Sephora and bought necessarily for personal use. This was makeup sent to them to review because they are a content creator, or was purchased potentially with a channel budget because they are in the business of beauty content creation. There is a professional sensibility to a declutter for a lot of creators. They need to get rid of a lot of stuff because they have a lot of stuff coming in the next year for content creation. If you are a creator that is maybe more like me and, you know, I don't receive PR and I don't have a channel budget, and when I buy a makeup item, it's really for me, not because I want to make a video about it. It's for my personal use, or you're just not a content creator at all, that declutter cycle actually isn't really designed for us. It's not helpful to us. I mean, organizing can be great. A little spring cleaning, a little New Year's cleaning, never hurt anybody. And passing along products that really don't work for you to friends is always a good idea. We really should not feel the pressure because we see all these people that we potentially have parasocial relationships with and are our makeup best friends declutter, do these ruthless 30-40% of my collection gone declutters. We shouldn't feel pressure to do that because it's just a different reality for us and how we consume makeup. If you get rid of 30-40% of your collection, that is not replaced over the next year probably by PR companies and by you using business funds to purchase makeup. That's just gone. And if you feel like, I kind of miss having the volume of makeup I had, it's going to come out of your own personal budget and is not going to be the same help to you as it is to content creators. I did want to mention, I still, at the beginning of next year, am planning on doing a full collection video. It will not be a declutter because I'm not really looking to declutter anything right now. And I'm not saying I'll never do a big declutter again, because it is that overhead type style content with the click clacks I really do enjoy making and producing. So I still wanted to do that through my collection tour. And again, maybe I'll do a declutter in the future on this channel. And I'm currently brainstorming some ideas for a no-buy potentially at the beginning of next year. So look for that too as I continue to kind of think out loud and brainstorm out loud and iterate with you all probably in the comments what my goals are and how I want to be a little bit more mindful when it comes to enjoying buying makeup. Because buying things should be fun and should bring joy and should not bring stress or shame. I really want the first half of next year to be focused on using what I have, using up products and giving things a chance. I don't know, really using what I already have and not decluttering my way out of a problem again. And, for the third time, I really want to be clear. I am not in judgment of anybody who does do massive end of year declutters. Even if you're not a content creator, if it brings you joy, that's amazing, and I love that you get that enjoyment out of makeup. I just think it's a good idea to put these things in perspective, to kind of think through these things, and again, a little counter programming on kind of what is happening on beauty YouTube right now and at this time of year. I'm still going to be watching declutters. I love declutters. I love falling asleep to declutters. I love a click clack sound. I love being nosy, and especially if it's a creator I really follow, being like, oh, I can't believe they're decluttering this, or like, oh, they ended up keeping that. How interesting. It's all interesting because I think beauty and how folks consume beauty is really interesting. I just think for me personally, it wasn't a cycle that was necessarily going to serve me well, which is why I kind of wanted to press the emergency brake and think about it. So thank you all so much for watching. I would love to hear if you are planning on doing any decluttering, if you get a lot of joy out of decluttering. It can feel great to get rid of things you will not use, I will say. A good declutter never hurt nobody. Until it did. No, I'm just kidding. Let me know about your relationship with decluttering. Have you ever regretted decluttering anything? I have absolutely regretted decluttering things. I feel like that's a refrain you hear a lot. It's I know I won't miss it once I get rid of it, and I miss things I've gotten rid of for sure, but that's how we learn, I suppose. If you did enjoy this video, give it a like. Helps me a lot in the wild, wild west of the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe for future videos. Clovemas is still going strong. And thank you all so much for being here. We're gonna be okay. Love y'all. Bye. And I usually don't say love y'all, but okay. Bye. Very genuine though, I promise. Ah. Look at my little bun. Okay.